So, Will, one of the topics that comes up a lot for us in meetings is around the whole subject of unconscious bias. And I think it's become a real sort of subject or buzzword at the moment. How do you approach that topic in an organisation when you're delivering a course?
So the starting point for me is to understand what their understanding of bias is. I think there's a common misconception that bias is uniformly bad and that if people put people through a training course, they'll fix it. And I think that that's a fairly limited view in terms of understanding why bias exists in the first place and what it can actually do positively for an organisation.
Okay, so it sounds as though it's about raising people's consciousness of bias and inviting a conversation around it as opposed to slapping people over the wrists about you're doing this wrong or badly.
Absolutely, yeah. I think that the interventions that you can use in terms of raising awareness around bias are numerous. So anything from helping people to understand what bias is, so cognitive biases, emotional biases, behavioural biases, and then understanding at a deeper level why those biases exist. From my experience of working with people, behaviours in a creative and commercial environment, I think bias is a fundamentally fascinating subject because it's the reason behind why people do what they do. So patterns of behaviour, patterns of thinking, patterns of emotion are all there to support people feeling comfortable, safe, and being able to predict an outcome. Whilst those outcomes are often in the good, for the good of the person and the business, there are also things that people do for efficiency, speed, and comfort making. And those things aren't always a natural bedfellow for business outcomes, KPIs, etc.
So presumably you have to be careful about taking away those comfort blankets, if you like, if they've been developed to help people to feel comfortable.
Yes. So if you put people through a training course that highlights bias and demonstrates to them how bad they are, how poor they are, and how ineffective they are, the chances are you're going to strip people bare and they're going to feel totally under-resourced to be able to deal with, now you've exposed me, what do you want to do with me in order to fix me? My perspective on bias is if you can help people to become aware of the biases that they have, and then when they are useful biases for them and or for other people, they are then empowered to make choices or new choices that can maybe rework a bias or help them to understand when it might serve them or might not serve them.